Hi, this is Matthias from John Chipalones. We are at one of our customers' houses in Bala Cynwyd, where we did an oil to gas conversion as well as installed 2 new air conditioning systems. Come on. We're here with Juan Ortega. We did a major renovations on both his heating and cooling systems. Can you tell me a little bit about what kind of issues you were having with the system before we came in?
Well, first of all, this is a very old house. It's an almost 100-year-old house that had a system that was a little over 20 years old. So the time was coming to change. It was very inefficient, and it had already broken down a couple of times. So we felt it wasn't worth keep putting money into such an old and inefficient system. So we started looking into renewing before it was completely dead. The house has a separate heating and cooling systems, and that was the way it was renovated.
First of all, very unique setup. The outdoor units were in your neighbor's yard, right?
Yes.
But you also expressed a couple of issues on the 3rd floor, top floor, so you have a system that does 3rd and 2nd floor as well as the 1st floor itself.
The first thing you mentioned, yes, by mistake, the previous owners had put the units in our neighbor's yard, so we wanted to get that corrected. And then, yes, the 3rd floor, this house has an attic, and 3rd floor, which is usually has 2 bedrooms and a full bathroom, but it was just not cooling. It was simply not cooling.
One of the problems was this 3rd floor, we're on the 3rd floor of this house, was very warm. It didn't cool properly with a system that did the 3rd and 2nd floor. So we did a couple of duct changes here along with a system change out. One of the most important things that I noticed was that the return, meaning the intake for the system itself, was not in the highest position possible. So we need something to eliminate the heat on the top floor, so this is why we try to get this as high as possible. This return actually used to be down here. So it's, you still have 4 or 5 feet of space that hot air just congregates in and you can't get rid of.
The other people that looked at the house, they just seemed to think that by changing the system to a new expensive one, it will just magically start cooling. And it was clearly, it's not that the other system wasn't working, it was old, but the rest of the house was cooling and the top wasn't. Sure. So I didn't really buy that was going to be the case. And what made the difference with John Chipalone was that they actually thought about it. They noticed that there was a flaw in the design when the system was installed on the 3rd floor, and they proposed something that made sense. And in the end, now that it's done, it worked. The 3rd floor now cools.
Right.
So that was probably one of the main reasons that set John Chipalone apart. They actually thought about the problem that we were having, and they fixed it.
We also did you had an old oil system in here. The tank was taking up some room down the basement. We converted it to gas, nice, high-efficient Bosch system. Can you tell me a little bit about what made you decide maybe move to gas? Why did you decide a high-efficiency system?
Well, one of the reasons that since we were going to renovate the heating and cooling system of the house was to be more energy efficient, both for environmental purposes and also for cost. Using oil to us made little sense. It was, as you mentioned, using space. The boiler was old and very noisy. You could literally hear it on the 3rd floor, so it was quite annoying. So we decided to upgrade, and then after looking at various options, and the current energy resources available in Pennsylvania, natural gas seemed to be what made the most sense to us. So we decided to upgrade. The boiler was changed. It's no longer noisy. Obviously, our gas bill has gone up, but we're no longer paying for oil. So when you do the difference, it is savings. Oil was very expensive, and gas, it's not cheap, as you all know. Sure. But it is more cost efficient, and the system you installed is a high efficiency system, so it works well, and it's quiet, which is
and
nice.
Oil prices really jumped this year too.
Yeah.
So you made a good move.
And gas has remained reasonably stable.
Yeah. So we're looking at the 1st floor space pack system. We replaced the system that was actually more over here. One of the things that I noticed is when you come down from the basement steps, there was only about 2 feet of access because of the system was here. So we decided to go with a vertical system instead of a horizontal system to be able to create this room that he didn't have before. And we also, we have a nice drain pan underneath here in case water spills or the pump breaks, you're not going to have water all over the basement. You actually have a finished side over here. So, you know, if you get water underneath in the finished side, you're going to have to rip up the floor, mold issues. So that's a very important aspect of an installation job. And because we moved the system, we were actually able to put a really nice air cleaner on the system, a really nice April air cleaner that catches about 70 to 80% of pollen and dust and anything else that's in the air, really, whereas most 1-inch filters probably catch anywhere between 10 and 30% without being too restrictive. So that was a really nice feature we were able to do here. We put a beautiful Bosch high efficiency system in here. It's the Green Star. It's a modulating system. It's a 95% efficient system. There used to be a oil furnace in here, which was roughly here before. There was an oil tank that took up fairly big space over here that we were able to remove. This system is super quiet, barely hear. It does 3 zones. There's a basement zone, there's a main house, and then there's a couple of radiant zones. So this is able to handle all of those. It is a super efficient system and, well, nicely installed. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. If this is something that you'd be interested in looking at in your house, we'd love to help. Give us a call or check us out online. Thanks.